For those that just joined, we're just waiting for others to just join, and we'll give it another 30 seconds and we'll get started. Thanks. All right, awesome. All right, well, I'd like to thank everyone for making the time to spend some time with us over the next sort of half hour, 45 minutes. One of the things which we've all heard about over the last couple of months is there's been some significant changes around VMware with the acquisition from Broadcom, and we've really heard a lot of organizations, individuals reach out to us asking lots of questions, trying to understand what the options are, trying to understand what it means for them. So what we're trying to do today is we're trying to take some of those questions, we're trying to take some of those bits and pieces that we've learned and trying to give you a high level. So we're not going to dive too deep into the options and bits and pieces, but we're going to give you a high level overview of what's happened, what some options are. And then at the end, we're going to also give you the ability to reach out and do a deep dive into some of those options, what's right for you and your customers and how we can then support you. So we're really blessed with having some amazing speakers. So we've got some internal Ingram people from across the teams who's going to be able to support you on answering some of these questions. One of the things that I will ask is, I'm sure there'll be some questions along the way based on some of the points that we'll be talking about, or maybe we don't talk about. Can you put those questions in the Q&A? You should see a Q&A option button at the top of your screen. If you can put your questions in there, what we'll do is we'll work through those questions. The team on the side can look at answering those. And potentially we might need to look at setting up some time with you and actually deep diving into those questions to make sure that the answer that we provide is relevant for you and your situation and your business. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Jeff to come to the table, as it were, to give us a bit of a lay of the land of what's happened with VMware and what does this mean for partners. So Jeff, just over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. All right, so as you probably all know, VMware was purchased by Broadcom, and there's been quite a few changes to what VMware by Broadcom is offering. The first thing they've done is basically they've made three changes, basically, or three changes to three areas. The first is the portfolio, and the second one is how they license this portfolio, and the third is how they size modeling for those licenses. So the first one is so the portfolio, what they've done basically is they've taken hundreds of products and reduced them basically down to four main bundles, and these are VCF or VMware Cloud Foundation, and this is Broadcom's private cloud enabled product, and it's the most feature rich and full stack product that's available, and it's the one that I actually prefer you to go to. However, it doesn't suit everybody, so they have what they call the VMware vSphere Foundation, or VVF, and this is their primary product for on-premise stuff or data center implementations. And for those who don't require the cloud experience, really. Then they have the smaller businesses that just want to run vSphere. They have vSphere Standard and vSphere Essentials Plus. So vSphere Standard is just for those who want to run vSphere and multiple clusters. vSphere Essentials is for very small businesses where they only want 3 hosts, etc. So very small. And that's their thing. Now there's add-ons for these products. So there's VCF and VVF have a fairly large suite of products available. The only difference between the two is that the firewall and the firewall with advanced threat protection is only available for VCF. That's because NSX is only available for VCF as well. For all products, including the standard and the essentials, there is live recovery. And this is basically your site recovery manager and your ransomware recovery, etc. Okay, the second thing they've changed is the licensing model. Broadcom have gone with a subscription-only licensing model, and they have a upfront commit of 1, 3, or 5 years. So quite a change to what people were used to before. And for the support, they are providing support for VCF, select support for VCF, and this also includes the site, what was it, the Site Resource Engineering Service. So for those who want any help implementing into the clouds or implementing their private cloud, they can get help from VMware for that, or Broadcom for that. All the vSphere products, the Foundation, the Standard, and the Essentials, they will get production only support. So there's been a few end of sales. Perpetual licensing is gone. Support and subscription, as you used to know it, has for those perpetual licenses have gone, and the hybrid purchase program and subscription purchase program is also gone. The third and final change that they've made is to how they size those models, those licenses. They've gone to a core-based model. This replaces the previous VRAM points and CPU models that we use in CSP and perpetual licensing, respectively. They've got a minimum of 16 cores per socket per host. So if you happen to have a server which has got 8 cores in it, you still have to purchase the 16 cores as a minimum, and that is per socket or CPU. So they've done that, but they take with one hand but give with the other. So the other thing they've done is made a vSAN is also sized on a per core basis initially. So for each of these, so with vSAN, you get 1 TIB of well, this is for the VCF, I should add. For VCF, you get added 1 TIB per core. So since you're buying a minimum of 16 cores for your host, you will be getting a minimum of 16 TIBs or terabytes, whatever you want to call it. So 16 TIBs, and that's added across the cluster, whole cluster, accumulated across the cluster. So if you require more or you want to increase your VVF, so I'll just step back one. For the VVF or the vSphere Foundation, you get a trial vSAN license, which gives you 100 megabytes or MIBs per core. And but if you need to go past that or you exceed that in raw capacity, then you can buy the vSAN add-on, which will also give you 1 terabyte of per core of a minimum of 16. Sorry, a minimum of 8 for that. So up to whatever you like. So you just keep adding on extra terabytes. So if you get 16 terabytes and then you want to go to 24, you can just buy the extra 8 terabytes. And that is basically the changes that have been made from vSAN. So, Phil.
Yeah, so thanks for that. So look, we obviously have a lot of partners that run clusters across their environment. So, and you were talking about the VCF and VVF. So if we have an end customer environment that wants to run both VCF and VVF, can they actually be managed in those same clusters?
So the answer is no. You need to run separate clusters for your VCF and your VVS hosts, and they need to be managed by separate vCenters. So yeah, unfortunately, no, you can't manage them through the same clusters.
Right. Okay. There was another point I wanted to sort of touch on, which was talking about the firewall not being available. So for existing, and I think that was in vSphere Foundation.
Yep.
So for existing customers who have already adopted the full firewall capacity, with these customers, would they be able to receive legacy firewall information, entitlement, etc.?
So if they're running it now, it'll keep going, and it will be supported for the current customers who have the existing contract. But for any future purchases, the customer will need to purchase both VCF and firewall add-on.
Okay.
So what they've got now, they can keep running, but any future purchases, they need to upgrade.
Okay. So look, there seems to be a lot going on here. There seems to be a lot of acronyms. There seems to be a lot of changes and stuff. So, how can Ingram support partners in really understanding what's going on and with these options?
Okay, so of course we hope everybody stays on VMware. It's a great product despite the changes. But look, Ingram has a lot of expertise. So if someone for some reason wants to move away from VMware and look at alternatives, Ingram has the expertise to help them with a strategy to move to another platform such as Nutanix, hyperscalers, Red Hat, etc. And this is why we're having this session, obviously. So
Yeah, yeah, and just sort of on that as well is the fact that you know we showed one slide here, but there is so much more. But for those partners that really need to understand what's happened, what does it really mean? We are here to help. The whole premise of this call here is to really stress the fact that we are here. Feel free to reach out to us. You've got either to your account manager, to your CSAM, your relationship manager, or to people on this call here, right? We are happy to help you and happy to support you on what's the best fit for your business and your strategy. Jeff, thanks for your time. Thanks for that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Engesh here. So Engesh is one of our multi-cloud solution architects. Engesh, now, we've obviously just learned a lot around VMware, right? And obviously some changes on-prem, but VMware in the cloud, right, is still an option. So what can we do there? What are the solutions that we can sort of talk about with our end customers?
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, so like you said, VMware on hyperscalers, whether it's Azure or AWS, has always been there. And a lot of customers have been using this for their hybrid cloud and cloud journey. On the Azure side, we have Azure VMware solution, and on the AWS side, we have VMware Cloud on AWS. But essentially, it's the VMware software-defined data center available on the hyperscalers.
Right. So from a licensing perspective, do we still have the flexibility? Do we still have those options?
Absolutely. So, there are benefits in terms of utilizing your existing licenses. You can bring your own VMware licenses, or you can go with the license included model. But the key benefit behind these solutions is for the familiarity with the VMware solution, the love that customers have for the VMware technology, and they continue to use that on the hyperscaler.
Do we also see benefits around what the hyperscaler itself can also provide?
Yes, absolutely. So, like we see in the next slide, there are several benefits to these solutions, right? So there's, the teams that are managing these environments, the customers or the partners, they get to retain their VMware skills, and they will continue to work with the familiar tooling of vCenter to manage these environments on the hyperscalers. The fastest way to migrate your on-prem environment into a public cloud is by utilizing the VMware services on the hyperscalers, right? So there's no, it's simply a rehost, just like in case of an on-prem DR testing, the technical teams just move the workloads from one vCenter or one host to the other. It's as simple as that to move your workloads to the VMware solutions on the public cloud. Both the Azure and the AWS solutions, they use VMware technology stack, and it offers symmetry. Now, purely from a partners and customers perspective, just putting it in terms of the high level numbers. So businesses have seen 50% lower costs and 95% less downtime, as well as within 3 to 6 months they are able to achieve 361% ROI, just based on the latest IDC report that we have seen. But from a technical and operational perspective, there's customers and partners, they achieve operational consistency. There's existing skill sets and tools, simple to control and manage the whole environment. Plus, it does improve the enterprise app SLA as well. Right.
So really interesting point. So VMware on hyperscalers. So is that really for every opportunity, or where are we really seeing those solutions being deployed?
Right. So in my opinion, and what we have seen with most of the partner and customer opportunities where we have deployed these solutions, ideally, they are suited for 100 workloads or more, especially because there's a minimum size requirement from an VMware SDDC perspective. And by SDDC, I mean software defined data center, which is the VMware term for the vSAN, NSX, and the entire cluster that you get from a VMware Cloud Foundation perspective, right? So that's so AWS has their own minimum sizing requirements, Azure has their own, but because of those minimum size and the way we provision the 100 workloads or more of a medium to enterprise customers, they are suited the best for these solutions.
Yeah, so we saw a slide there which popped up around like the native options. So obviously, we're talking about more enterprise environments around VMware on the hyperscaler, but what about the smaller environments? We see a lot of VMware end customers running those 1, 2, 3 node environments, which from what you just sort of said wouldn't really suit those sort of VMware on the hyperscalers. What's the options there?
And that's exactly why we have our next slide. So there are definitely native IaaS and PaaS offerings on both the platforms. Now these native offerings, when we talk about compute, storage, network, both at Azure and AWS have your VMs, your blob storage, your SAN storage, and you name it. All the services are available that can be used to migrate your VM workloads to public cloud. Now, like I mentioned earlier, these solutions are not new, and a lot of VMware customers have already been exploring these. But where we have seen success in smaller environments is migrating some of these workloads into native services like Azure VM or AWS EC2. And then for certain, low-hanging fruits, like in dev test environments, you may have some simple applications that can be used into migrated to a PaaS service like app service or web-hosted a solution on AWS, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really interesting point, because I know that a number of the events that I've been to recently and the conversations I've been having with partners, a lot of partners are actually looking at these native options. They're seeing that, from what you just sort of mentioned earlier around cost savings and bits and pieces. But how is Ingram Micro supporting these partners in these engagements and these opportunities?
So, and like you mentioned, we have been engaged with a lot of our partner community in driving these conversations with their customers. And where we have seen success so far is the conversations which talk directly about migrating to a public cloud. They don't really fly as as well as we would like. So essentially, the first step in any of starting these conversations with the customers is to run or work with them in terms of building a TCO and a business case. Now, where Ingram has been working with the partners and where we work with our partner community is offering an obligation-free cloud assessment, where Ingram team works with the partner to deploy the tool, to collect the data. Then we do the analysis and help work with the partner in either white labeling or rejigging the presentation so that the conversation can be had. So the idea behind this is to offer this what we call cloud readiness assessment, and it's something that the partners can offer to their customers even before they start talking about public cloud migrations or migrating the workloads or any transformation, right? So with that cloud readiness assessment, our team works with the partners to collect everything and get everything ready for a meaningful conversation with the customer.
So that's actually a great point. So you talked about the migrations, and obviously we've got a few vendors online here. How can Ingram support with those migrations? Because the cost of migrating is really expensive, and especially for partners that have contracts in place, it's hard for them to recontract or whatever it may be. How can Ingram support the partner and then obviously the end customer with the migration?
Spot on, Phil. One of the deterrents that we have seen, and even in my past life that I've seen with these migration projects, is the upfront migration cost. And that's usually, even for smaller environments, sometimes it can be a very big cost. And it can put partners and customers in a difficult conversation. Now, where Ingram adds value is once we have got that assessment done, because Ingram is a global organization, we have our own in-house professional services team that has been doing these projects across the globe at various different scales. We have got access to, so because of these projects, we were able to achieve, Microsoft solution designations as well as AWS migration competencies. And essentially what these titles or these technical capabilities give us is access to funding programs, both from Microsoft as well as Azure, as well as AWS, right? So with these funding programs, based on the assessment that we do and the analysis that we have built, once the customer gives a sign off, we are able to access that funding and help partner offset some of these migration costs. And that has been a sweetener for a lot of customers, and they quickly sign up and kick off the projects with us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Engage, thanks for your time. Now, one of the things which I'm getting a lot of questions being thrown at me, there's been a lot of people sort of reaching out and asking about alternative options around on-prem and cloud. Nutanix has been getting so much traction over the last couple of weeks. So super privileged and honest to get Aitu to join us now. Aitu, can you do me a favor? Can you just give the group here just a bit of an overview of Nutanix, what it means, what the options and benefits are, please?
Sure, absolutely. I'm sure all of you actually have an idea with Nutanix and somehow like work with Nutanix or currently working, or will you? So Nutanix is actually there's a different sort of perception. Is it hardware? Is it software? Is it is this a service? There's actually a combination of pretty much everything that one corporation or organization needs for the data center needs. So Nutanix itself is a license, a software, but it runs on a particular on-prem cloud or on cloud cloud. On public cloud. So I'm going to open it up a little bit further. So it comes with the core-based license. And if it's basically competition could be the tier 3 solution, it could be other HCI the products. Pretty much anyone who needs high available, scalable, performance secure data center infrastructure, Nutanix it will be one of the best choices. And if you wonder like how we're going to license, how we price this, Nutanix recently changed the pricing model. I think they changed it last year, so that now the current license model per core. The previous model has also a tip license depending on SSD size the customer has, but now it's simpler. It also comes with an own operating system with Acropolis, and also if customer needs a hypervisor, it comes with an AHP. Previously, AHP was included, but a lot of customer has actually decided to choose choices to use a different sort of hypervisor like ESX or the Microsoft Hyper-V. So Nutanix gave them the flexibility to choose the solution that they want. Also, the customer Nutanix provides for the small accounts virtual machine-based licensing solution. The perception in the market is Nutanix is too expensive. Is actually that's wrong. Is actually it comes with a lot of value, particularly embedded features like the security, manageability, and high availability. It basically ticks boxes that pretty much any organization that needs the cutting edge the infrastructure. The other flexibility is obviously license needs to run on a hardware or a public cloud. Nutanix cooperate with all the major hardware vendors. Nutanix's own branded NX, we call NX, the Supermicro manufacturer hardware. But if customers familiar with HPE, Lenovo, or Dell, and recently Cisco also joined the bandwagon, customer can also run this validated hardware model and run Nutanix on top of them. The cloud is also an option. Also, they can also the mix and match. Maybe some clusters, some workloads might be running on cloud from different reasons, and in the meantime, customer want to prefer to run their critical and high secure applications on-prem. They can also mix and match as long as they each runs on the different cluster. So they can manage also different cloud platform, a single window. That's also one of the beauty that Nutanix provides. Migration is easy. If customer wondering how we're gonna migrate using a different infrastructure, there's also like a pretty straightforward. We have in the call Darren Koh, so he's our solution architect. Maybe Darren, you want to mention a minute like how this migration can be achieved?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, as Aydin mentioned, the migration is actually very, very simple, right? So basically there are two options I can think of. One thing would be reuse existing hardware. So if you are already using your HPE DL hardware, or you may have Dell PowerEdge, right? There is a chance that we could reuse those hardware. The thing is we just need to check that the parts are actually certified. So that would basically be comparing the SKUs, and this would be done by us, or it can also be done by either the hardware vendors or by Nutanix, right? So this is the first part. For those customers who are using hardware that are close to end of life, we usually recommend that they consider refreshing their hardware, but this would be a very, very easy move. And if they were to say purchase new DX, HPE, or maybe NX Supermicro hardware, there is a very, very, very cool tool that we call Move, which you can basically use, and it would just basically do more like a lift and shift of the workloads from the existing ESXi to either the public cloud, as you can see here, or to an on-prem environment. So and the time it takes to actually move, basically, I would say just one reboot of your machine, right? Yeah, that's it. Back to you, Aydin.
So basically, if customer planning to migrate their existing infrastructure, Nutanix, the process is very simple, straightforward. We had a lot of examples, and then a lot of the capability, basically capable technical services that's available. So that's not basically the big question. And what are the capabilities of Nutanix versus VMware? So there are a lot of information here. We don't want to go through each one of them. Was basically give you a snapshot Nutanix capability compared to VMware. as you can see, all the capabilities that VMware provides can also be provided by Nutanix. On top of the core license, the core HV, all you need to do just to add. Nutanix calls them the portfolio solutions. You just need to add those additional license to get the capabilities and the features that your organization needs. I guess, Phil, you have some questions.
Yeah, so look, one of the points that I actually just want to touch on, I think you made a good point earlier about a lot of people think that the product itself is expensive. However, based on my, workings with Nutanix, the cost savings for the overall solution are significant. And one of the things right now is with some of the options and stuff that we're looking at, there are circumstances where environments can't move to public cloud for latency reasons, compliance reasons, or whatever. So to be able to have an alternative from an on-prem solution, when you actually look at what Nutanix can offer, plus as well the fact that you can potentially look at reprovisioning hardware, existing hardware, so you're reducing that capital cost. The actual cost of the environment itself is actually, and the solution is really good. And I really want to make sure that people understand that the cost of Nutanix. Please don't be put off by thinking that the cost is expensive. We're seeing that is not the case. We really want to zoom in on that and just sort of say, look, the solution itself is very easy to manage. It's very easy to support. There's great options within it, and the cost itself compared to other sort of storage environment platforms is very attractive. So I just really want to home in on that and really make sure that all partners on this call and obviously solutions, please keep this in mind. We are seeing a huge amount of basically brand awareness from partners that weren't involved with Nutanix previously, now jumping onto this, and also looking at and I think we can maybe touch on this in a second, but even the hyperscalers themselves, are also pushing Nutanix. So there is definitely options and solutions out there. So please, please keep that in mind. But just to that point, I just really want to ask the question, and I think this is key when we're looking at a lot of these different vendors, is Nutanix, fit for everyone?
Well, very good point, very good questions. Look, I can tell you from my just own personal experience, we have aged care facilities using Nutanix. We have the federal departments, we have the global banks, big utilities companies. So it's pretty much everyone who needs secure, manageable, high available, scale, high performance infrastructure. So what Nutanix provide is the backbone. Obviously comes with a price tag, but data center is no longer regarded as a cost center. It's actually a production environment. So what your customer will get is definitely will basically provides a lot of the big values to the organization in terms of their operations, the security, and manageability. So it's pretty much everyone. We have a private school, we have the high school, we have universities, like you name it, like any industry, any verticals. We've got a lot of the customers using Nutanix platform.
Cool, wonderful. I sort of touched on it earlier, but a lot of people see Nutanix as an on-prem solution, but is that really the case?
Not really. Majority are actually using Nutanix on they own the private cloud on the hardware, the data centers, but the other option is available to run the Nutanix on AWS or on Azure. So that's basically, it's not only hardware.
Cool.
Problem.
Awesome. And that's really around the NC2 products and support services around that. But look, we may have quite a few partners that Nutanix may be new to them. So, how can a partner with no skills, no awareness, no technical enablement, how can they get started?
Well, what we'll suggest, actually, we have bunch of team. Actually, we have 4 of us in Nutanix team. I'm based in Sydney. Darren also is based in Sydney. What we'll suggest, if you are very new to Nutanix, we're happy to maybe take an offline and then set up. I prefer actually make it a one-to-one and face-to-face meeting to go through what you're after, and we can provide you first high level and then a technical session. So we help you to prepare and get familiar with Nutanix. Then also we can guide you to take the formal Nutanix certification. We're also happy to sign you up as a Nutanix partner, and then we'll take it there. And once you have some active projects, we're always happy to basically be beside you. We're happy to meet your customers, but our aim is actually our partners more like a self-sufficient in the long term. And on top of that, as at the end of the day, we're all making the business. We're talking about the money. The biggest actually margin or the value you can get as a Nutanix partner, the service that you're going to provide. It could be the migration, it could be the installation, or any sort of deployment. So that will basically go through those step by step. The first thing I will suggest, maybe just organize a one-to-one session and go through all the details.
Yeah, I mean that call out around basically profitability is such a key point, and I think with obviously all these changes that are going on, partners, it's not Christmas every day. We need to make sure as a business, we're making money, we're sustainable. So profitability is something that Ingram Micro is able to have that conversation with our partners, with deep dive into those opportunities, make sure that partners are getting the right solution, but it's also very profitable for the partner. So I too thank you so much for the time and running us through that. Now we're blessed with the smooth tones of Channa. So who's going to run through some of our stuff around Red Hat? We see that Red Hat is obviously a well-established organization, but Red Hat, so Channa, can you just dive into the benefits around Red Hat and what we're sort of seeing in market? And I'll just go and sort myself out there.
No, thanks, Will. So when it comes to Red Hat OpenShift virtualization is its single platform to run your virtual machines, container environments, and serverless development environments. So you can run your virtualized environment side by side with containers without having two separate environments for virtualization and container environments. So one platform to run virtual machines and containers and serverless development environments. And folks, yes, Red Hat virtualization, you can host Windows servers in virtualization layer. The hypervisor supports Windows. There's so many customers ask me, are you really sure Red Hat we can run Windows servers on virtualization? Yes, you can. And you can keep if you want to migrate or move your virtualization current virtualization environment to OpenShift virtualization platform and keep all those features like live migration and some features, you can keep them on, and all the roles, responsibilities, you can keep intact and move into OpenShift virtualization platform. From Red Hat point of view, there are migration tools available to move onto OpenShift virtualization platform. I'll use the word platform because it gives you the customers the ability to run your virtual infrastructure environment and the container platform on one single server platform. I think if you go to my next slide, it will show very graphically how you can establish your legacy virtualization environment, and then modernize your applications and move those applications into the container environment. So the goal is at some point, you need to move into a container environment, and this provides you the layout or basic platform to run your legacy applications as of today on virtualized environment, and at your own pace, get those applications ready for container environment and move gradually into that container environment. So it gives the customers to set up their own virtualized environment in a single pane, running their virtual machines on today as it is, and then slowly develop and migrate into a container platform. The key is application modernization. Going into the future, most of the existing legacy applications needs to, at some point, transition into a container or cloud native application. So it provides the basic platform to start where you are today and then slowly migrate. And customers are ready to straight away jump onto the container, and they can do that as well. So all options are available with OpenShift virtualization, OpenShift virtualization platform. That's option. So there are a few other options as well, depending on case by case. Now, one thing I need to stress, it won't be exactly as of you're running VMware environment today. It won't be exactly as it is. It's like you're, changing your today's Toyota to a Mercedes. So there are new environment, dashboard is different, features are different. So it's a learning curve, but it's a superior platform to, if we were customers thinking of modernization and an alternative for a virtualization environment, you need to have a look at that OpenShift virtualization. Bill.
Awesome. All right. Well, look, thank you so much for that. And look, one of the things that just from a personal note, if I could, a lot of organizations, a lot of partners think that Red Hat is for these big, huge environments. But one of the things that we're seeing, your sort of average size managed service organization that's looking into containers, looking into building workflows, looking to building those more future state IT environments, containers and stuff, really leveraging the power of what Red Hat can bring to the table. So please, for partners that are on the call, don't think it's for the enterprises, right? I guarantee you that there is a conversation that can be had for your environment. And the thing that we see the most is the partners that really embrace this, they're finding that management of their environment, speed to market, speed to solutions, significant increases. So, but again, please look at this. So, John, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions.
Yep.
So, obviously, for those partners out there that have customer environments and such, that just go, well, how do I get Red Hat in? So what are the things that they should be looking for in their customer environments to go, do you know what, this would be awesome solution for Red Hat?
So the discussion point is the applications. So ask the question, what is their strategy about existing applications? Are they planning to modernize them and move into a containerized environment for portability purposes? So what it provides as well, the portability, easy portability between your private cloud and public cloud. So you can move applications seamlessly without depending on underlying operating system infrastructure. You can just move the applications between multiple public clouds or private clouds. So key question to ask, start the conversation with, okay, this is what you have your applications today, what it does, it runs on a VM. Now, if you want to run in 2-3 years time or 6 months time, if you want to run the same application on a container environment, are you planning to do that? So if the answer is yes, then that's where the conversation will start look at OpenShift environment, where you can host your virtual machine environment today with the same platform and gradually modernize the application and move it onto a container environment.
Yeah, and just I think to sort of add on to that is, we are seeing a number of MSPs that are offering more PaaS, outcome as a service offerings. And what they're able to do is they're actually able to build containers for those outcomes. So what they can then do is obviously, as they go to market, they can create containers and spin them up really, really quickly. and actually improve better outcomes, better options for end customers as a PaaS-based offering. So again, there's huge amounts of opportunity with Red Hat. Now, I do want to touch on a point that Aitu was talking about earlier in his point around profitability. Everyone wants to make money. So how does a partner make money with Red Hat?
The biggest revenue generator other than selling subscriptions is deployment. So if the partner develop the skill set in-house, deploying these solutions, consultancy, these are the additional revenue streams they can. They are not small; they are significant revenue streams rather than selling subscriptions. So upskilling, getting the skills required for in-house deployment engineers is the key.
Awesome. Okay, so how does Ingram then support partners with Red Hat opportunities?
So we got a dedicated team, myself, Eileen, our Red Hat BDM, and Simon, who's our business unit manager. We are a dedicated Red Hat team, partners. So I'm based in Melbourne, but I'm a national resource. So I work with all partners. My contact details will be there. We can share my other colleagues' contact details, get in touch with us, or get in touch with the respective relationship manager at Ingram, and they will direct you to the correct person, either myself or Eileen or Simon.
So I suppose, again, this may be new technology for individuals on this call. So what about, okay, I'm a partner, I've found an opportunity, I've spoke to to yourselves, you guys have helped me sell the solution, but who's going to deploy it?
So
how can Ingram help?
Yeah, that's a good question, Phil. That's coming more and more recently. So we have Ingram. We have signed up with some services partners to provide services. So we can either the partner can white label and sell the services, or we can marry them up with the services partners to deploy the services required and then do a skills transfer as well, ongoing skills transfer, and then at some point partner has enough skills to deploy by themselves. So there are multiple options available. Have a chat and we can help you at all costs.
Awesome. Look, Chano, guys, the rest of the team, thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes with us running through the vendors as such. So we just wanted to sort of, in a bit of a wrap up. So you obviously have heard today that there is multiple options available, and the things that we've talked about today is actually based on the feedback that we're getting from partners. These are the majority of the vendors that people have come into us asking, how do we do stuff? What are the options around here? They're hearing a lot of good things around these vendors, around these solutions. But one of the things I want you to go away from this call is Ingram is here to help. Okay, so we have multiple different ways to be able to support you. Now, Engage touched on it earlier when he was talking about the discovery and the assessments. So it doesn't matter what we're talking about here. Ingram Micro can help you, hold your hand, go into the environments, understand the solutions, the way that the workloads are configured, how they're put together, the requirements, work with you. And in a lot of the cases, some of these scans and audits, we're even incentivizing, paying the partner to go and find them. Okay. Now we will do the scans in most cases. We will do all of that for you, right? We can leverage some of the funding that is available out there. Now, some of these vendors are giving away some significant amount of funds to be able to support partners. When you're talking about hyperscalers, one of the biggest benefits that Ingram Micro has, we're the only DISTI that has the migration competency for Azure and AWS. Now, when we're talking about Red Hat and Nutanix, okay, we can actually put those into those hyperscalers. And the migration funding that's available from these hyperscalers will support those activities as well. So you don't have to go, okay, end customer, you know, it's going to cost you all of this. Now, one of the things that I do want to stress is that the funding and the activity is between Ingram and yourself. What you do with your end customer and how you charge and how you pass on stuff, that is your business. Okay. When it comes to design of the environments, moving from one solution to the next isn't always a lift and shift conversation. You may not have the capabilities, the skills, the resources even. We know that a lot of partners don't have the manpower to meet all of the projects that they currently have on the table. Ingram does. We have an internal professional services team. We do not outsource this. This is an internal professional services team that will work with you. They work with you, not the end customer. Okay? We will support you in the design, the configurations. We will help you with end-to-end migration. Ingram does not deal with end customer. We have to support and enable our partners to be able to do more in market. We want to make sure that you're not leaving opportunity on the table. We want to make sure that you are fully enabled to be able to activate every opportunity and be profitable. Now, in some environments, we need to run a proof of concept. So one of the things that Ingram has access to is we have proof of concept funding to be able to support activities. We have this amazing data center, right? We're our tech center, which is our technology experience center, which Engage is a local contact for, right? We can help you build. If you've got a complex environment, you can reach out to Engage and the team, right? And go, we need to actually run a POC. We'll be able to support you with those conversations. And if possible, we'll be able to run a POC within that environment to make sure that the solution will work, but also to help build the project waves. And then we've got the management services. So then you've got the management services that range from obviously enabling you to be able to sell the solutions, to renew the solutions, but also to manage some of the solutions. So some of the services that Ingram provides to our partners are free services to help you manage environments. We want to help you go to market quicker, better, and make you be different in market. Now, one of the things that I want to stress now, if we can jump to the next slide, please. A massive ask from everyone on this call is, can you get your mobile phones out for me? Right, go into camera mode and look at that QR code. Would love to understand what you need next to move forward. Where do you need help? What would you like to know more information? Okay, we have a large team that is here to help you. There may be some points, and I believe there were some questions and stuff in the Q&A, which I think the team have answered, but by filling out this form, there's a little form, really simple, okay? Let us know how we can support you. We'd love to support you on your journey. And as a partnership, right, we'd love to get you to do new technologies, find new revenue streams, and ultimately be more and more profitable. Okay. So again, I'd love to thank everyone, all the individuals on the call and those people behind the call as well. Thank you so much. And for our partners today, thank you for spending the last hour or so with us. We're really appreciative. Again, use that QR code, reach out to us. We're here to help. We'd love to do some more and more work business with yourselves. Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah, thanks.